I cannot wait for you to meet my next guest. I have been privileged to have him on my radio show a few years ago. I'm so happy that he is back joining me tonight because you are going to be wowed. He is a mentalist and illusionist, and what you're probably about to hear or see is probably going to blow your mind. Please welcome my guest, Wayne Hoffman. Hi, Wayne. We spare no expense with the sound effects here. It is great to see you, Wayne. It has been a few years, and I'll tell you what, you are all over the place. So first of all, let's start off. You're a mentalist and an illusionist. And before we go to all the places you've been and the TV shows you've been and the shows that you've done around the world, let's talk about a brief history with how did this come to be?
That's a great question. So I do magic and read people's minds for a living. So there's certainly a story. You don't just wake up one day and begin doing that. I started my career learning about magic when I was a kid, sleight of hand, and learning tricks at a magic shop in Reading, Pennsylvania. That's where I grew up. There was a shop called the Mingus Magic Shop, which is still there today. I would go there on the regular and hang out with magicians and mind readers and hypnotists. And later I studied psychology at a university, and I started to blend psychology with performance magic and began performing a show called Mind Candy. And so since that time, you know, I've just never stopped. This is all I've ever done. So now I just travel around reading people's minds and doing magic.
and wowing a lot of people. I have to ask you though, when you first got into it, and I love how you blended the psychology and brought everything together to come up with Mind Candy and then to do what you're doing now. But what was it like when you first started presenting? Because it has to be a little daunting when you're trying out the first trick or the first whatever it is. Can you take me back? Do you recall the emotions and maybe the response of the people? Because that's got to be a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I think, you know, I started my very first attempt at entertaining anyone was in school. I think this is what really got it started. The reactions were awesome. People were freaked out. Oh my God, how'd you do that? You know, and I was bitten by what they call the magic bug at a young age. I can remember back in those early days, the first few shows that I was performing, you know, it was nerve-wracking because here I am now being paid to do it. So you hold this psychological sense of responsibility. You know, it was really no different than what I was doing in school, except now I had to, you know, fix the tie and comb the hair and, you know, figure things out. But it was certainly a learning curve. You know, audience management and, you know, figuring out having a theatrical arc in the show, which I didn't have. I just did tricks. You know, I didn't have a beginning, middle, or an end. I just did tricks until I ran out of them. So, yeah, the early days, it was tough. Those first few audiences, you know, everyone's watching you and you got to do a good job. And it certainly was nerve-wracking.
So before you show us, I don't even know what you're going to show us or tell us or whatever, and I'm so excited. But there's something that you did that was done in a very, very famous audience, I guess, should we say, and you were able to trick members of this very famous audience by doing what you did. Can you, I know I'm being very coded there, but yeah. I'm assuming you're picking up what I'm putting down. Can you tell me about that?
I turned it on, so now I'm starting to read. So yeah, I assume you're referring to Penn and Teller. You know, I should be a mentalist. So yeah, that was a wild experience. And so Penn and Teller, if you don't know them, are famous magicians. They have a Vegas residency, and they created a television show where they, as magicians, will sit and watch other magicians and mentalists perform to see if those performers can fool them. Now, combined between Penn and Teller, both, they have over 100 years of magic knowledge. If you can actually fool them and they don't know how you did it, it's an incredible thing. Now, fortunately for me, I got them, and I was labeled a fooler, and I did win on the show. Funny you should bring this up, because I think it was just last night I had the conversation, and someone asked me, what is one of the biggest milestones in your career? And not from the public viewpoint, from my own personal viewpoint, I think that was certainly one of them.
I can't wait for this because I remember it. And honestly, I can't even remember what you did a few years ago when you came in studio and you wowed us. So let's make sure we get the right shot for this. So I assume, okay,
Oh,
he's
you're
going
good.
he's going to his
Yeah,
pocket
however
now.
you want to
Going
do
into a
it.
pocket. All right. So I want to be seeing this the whole time. So
There you go.
is this a proper place that
You're
I can
good.
witness everything that's going to happen?
Completely.
Okay.
So I'm going
nervous.
to try to predict something for you right now of something that's going to go through your mind. But I'm going to give you some context here.
Okay.
So I want you to imagine you go to a convenience store, kind of like a 7-Eleven, one of those little shops where you're grabbing drinks and snacks.
Okay.
And imagine you go up to the register and picture yourself paying in cash for whatever you purchase. Just set the scene generally. You don't have to specifically see anything. But I'm going to write
put my
down.
list of exactly what I want in my coffee.
Yeah, not necessary. Just picture the general scene of, being in a store like that. Okay. Now I'm writing something.
I'm nervous.
Of something that I think is going to happen. We'll see how close I get. So, now I've written a prediction for you on this card. And before I turn this over, I want you to tell us out loud, how much change did you get back from whatever you purchased? Make something up and then just say it out loud, whatever pops into your head.
Okay, 53 cents.
Okay, now you could have said anything up to $1 million, right? I didn't give you any type of limitation.
Correct, yes.
But do you find this weird? Because I had, you will say 53 cents right on the money. Good choice.
I was going to say first before you did that, I'm like, well, the good part is nobody could get in trouble and say, well, my card was declined because you asked me to pay in cash. But I thought you were going to figure out I was getting a chocolate covered cherry because I always like the candies that they have right at the. Wow. I didn't expect the money. Wayne, that is crazy. That is so crazy. Okay.
And yeah, that's how I got started, really, practicing, having people think of numbers and being able to get in their head and figure them out. Glad you didn't say like $11.87. Otherwise, that would have been a terrible ending.
Yeah, that was so amazing. And, it's got to be so exciting for you because it's so much fun. Like to see my reaction. And when you do these tricks, I mean, obviously it goes deeper. It's an art form and you've worked so many years now perfecting this. What is it like to see their reaction? Because you're making people happy. You're making people laugh. You're making people, just get excited about what you're doing. What's that feeling like, especially in a world where we have a lot of that negativity and we need that escape?
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about.
There's something else that I needed to do, and I felt it. I needed to provide another service to the world because I think it's my duty.
I tell people I do the shows for free. I get paid to travel and be away from my family and live in hotels and deal with TSA and, the phone calls, emails, contracts, insurance certificates, and marketing, and so on and so forth. The shows I do for free because it's all about the reactions. And I think, if I look back at my history and my timeline, the reactions are what kept me going. Being an entertainer of any kind, let alone a mentalist and an illusionist, is a difficult job. A mind reader is not the very first thing you think of when you're hiring entertainment. So, the thing that kept me going through the hard times from my entrepreneurial journey, what were the reactions? Knowing that when I do that show, I know what's coming and I know they're going to freak out, but then being able to see it, it's the greatest thing because what I'm doing is taking people back in time to that childlike sense of wonder.
I think you have something else to show us. I think, right? I hope.
Oh, I can. Okay. Yeah, you just point and I shoot. I'll keep going. We'll do a full
before
show.
We go back into that, which I'm so excited. Look at our world today. The last 2.5 years, this is what we're doing for the most part. How were you able to take something that you're used to having that live audience and that live reaction, and in a COVID world, still do what you do in a world where we need it more than ever.
Yeah. And so, when the pandemic hit, at first, just like everybody else, I'm like, I wonder, what's going to happen, how long this is going to last. No one ever thinks that a world changing pandemic is going to happen. So my manager, Hector, and I, we created the show Distant Deceptions as a way for people to connect and have fun, because there were no live shows. And my career revolves around large gatherings of people. I was very fortunate that what I do translates through the screen. So when we were developing the show, we started utilizing things like email and social media and different things that allowed the viewers to interact with me through the screen, and interact with me in different ways. And it was awesome. One of the first virtual shows that I did, it was a live stream for Willie Nelson, the country music legend. And it ended up being live streamed to 75,000 people live. All at once. And I read Willie Nelson's mind through the screen, and it was super cool. So yeah, during the pandemic, of course, I had to shift. And like Darwin said, it's the animals that learn to adapt that end up surviving. And not only did I survive during the pandemic, but I was thriving and helped serve the events world. So it was awesome.
And that's even cooler for everybody out there, because that's the thing. And we'll talk about this, at the end, but you can have Wayne at your very own fill in the blank. It's just the connection. We were so isolated on one side of things with the pandemic, and we hope that we will never live through that again. But the bright spot is that it really did bring us closer together in a way that, we have that technology now that if we're around the world, we're across the street, we still can connect. And how cool that you were able to kind of bridge that and make it happen. You can really do anything for any group of people and bring people together and take them back to those childhood days. So let's go back. All right, I got to bring myself up again. There we go. All right, so what do you have for us next?
So let's try a fun experiment.
Okay.
I want you to imagine that right now. Imagine I take out my wallet and picture me taking out a credit card and saying, here, all expenses paid trip for you to go anywhere in the world. Now, don't get excited. This is just hypothetical. But imagine I'm paying for it. You can go anywhere in the world, all expenses paid. Now, I want to point out for everyone tuning in here, too, that you have no idea what's happening. We've never discussed this in advance, and what you're doing for the first time right here, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, so tell us out loud for the very first time, where would you go if you could go on a free vacation?
Ireland.
All right, imagine you're in Ireland. Picture the scene, the people, the vibe. You're, traveling around. But you're not going to be sleeping on the streets. You're going to spring for it, yeah. Yeah, the best, only for you. So tell us, if you walked up to your hotel room door, on the door is your little plaque with your hotel room number.
Okay.
Tell us out loud, what's your imaginary room number in Ireland?
7.
7. Okay. Now, here's the thing. You actually beat the probability in the statistics. Most people, statistically, if you say the words room number, they'll typically think of a 3-digit number. Most people.
Oh, okay.
When given up, either 3 or 4 digits, which
we're staying at a mom and pop, maybe.
Okay, I guess you're in a little spot. Well, here's the thing. You could have said whatever you wanted, right? But you beat the odds and went with that. Although 7 is a popular number, when given it in the context of a hotel room, it's very rare, anyone would say. But remember my wallet earlier?
Yeah.
Well, check this out.
Oh, wait, you froze. Wayne, you froze. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Hang on. There we go.
Okay.
So check this out. In my wallet here, we're going to give you a close-up view. I want to make sure you see this.
Okay.
In my wallet, behind my driver's license here, is a piece of paper. Okay? Now, this has been in here since the beginning of our interview, and I don't want you to take your eyes off of this piece of paper. Okay? I want you to understand there's no sleight of hand here. So I'm going to do this. I wrote something down as a prediction of what I thought was going to occur. You see, I had a feeling you might just take a trip to Ireland, and if you did, you might just stay in room number 7.
What? How is that even possible?
I know, it's weird, right?
And you know, the thing is, I was going back and forth between France and Ireland. I'm very
I know.
Irish with a name like Mooney. And I thought, no, I got to go to Ireland. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Good choice.
And I was bouncing back between like 3 and 7, too. That's
Well,
crazy.
I'm glad you went with 7 because
That would have been weird for all of us. Do you have anything, and I don't want to throw you off,
No,
is there
you're
something
good.
that more people can play along? Like, is there anything that we can do? Okay,
sure.
So let me.
In fact, I knew you would ask that. So I grabbed 3 cards out of a deck of cards here. Now, I'll give you a close-up shot of this. Check this out.
Okay.
There are 3 playing cards here. We have the 2 of clubs, the ace of hearts in the middle, and then the 3 of clubs in the back. Now, everybody watching, your job, if you choose to accept it, is very simple. All you have to do is follow the ace. That's it. Keep your eyes on the
Oh, and look,
ace
there's
of
even
hearts
instructions
right
there. You guys are good.
You know, just in case we're on mute here. If we're on mute, if your wife is sleeping next to you, you know what to do. If you can't hear, but so check it out. Ace of hearts. Just keep your eyes on it. It's the middle card. Now there's a common game known as 3-card Monte, and hustlers do this on streets of tourist destinations all over the world. And this is my version. So follow that ace. Don't take your eyes off of that middle card. And I'll do everything in slow motion here. And just in case you haven't had your cup of coffee for the day, I'll give you a little hint, okay? So don't take your eyes off of the ace. Now, most people at this point can keep track of it, even if they're not sure, because it's pretty blatant. But on the streets, at this point, they would mix up the cards on a table. I'm going to skip that part. But what I want you to do is place a mental bet of where the ace is. And think about how much you would be willing to bet if you were on a street corner in New York City. Would you bet $100, $1,000, $1 million, right? Well, most people would bet their money that it's over here, which I find interesting because the ace was actually over there. So if you weren't able to follow it, don't worry. Nobody ever is. And what I'll do is I'll just display my PayPal at the end of this, and you can just PayPal whatever money you just lost.
I'm thankful I was thinking only 25. I guess like I'm a conservative gambler.
No, I think that's illegal.
I'm one of those that does the
like
minimum bet. But that's just that's amazing.
Well, thanks. I'm glad you think so.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work and time to be able to do something seemingly simple, but yeah, it's fun.
I'm going to put you on the spot. I don't even know if this is possible, but is there anything, so somebody like me who I don't think, other than like the nutshell game that you buy when you're little, is there anything that you can teach us that we could wow our friends?
Sure. So there's a few things. I'll give you one. I'm going to write something here.
Okay.
We'll see if it works. Hang on here. All right. So name a simple shape like a square or something like that.
Circle.
Okay, now name a different shape.
A triangle.
And put one inside of the other in your mind. Got it?
Yes.
Okay, tell me what you were thinking.
I put the circle into the triangle.
Okay, well, I got close. I had a circle and a triangle, but I had it the other way around. So that's a little experiment. Let me try one
and
more.
I might have thought maybe I could have thought of that first and
right, and I gave you time to think about it, which is one thing. So let me try this. These are simple little tests. Actually, let me go here. We'll see. Name a vegetable.
Carrot.
Okay, I was right on that one, and I even changed it. I had carrot at the end. I almost went with broccoli, but you look like a carrot kind of gal. I went with that.
Maybe the fact that I have a pound of carrots on my counter that I still haven't cooked, and I'm going to have to throw out because they've been in there so long.
I knew that. By the way, you're out of milk. I'm just kidding. She has plenty of milk.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So with that, I mean, out of any vegetable in any shapes, you know, how did I get carrot and I got the circle and the triangle? Well, most people, they'll actually choose a circle and a triangle statistically. If you don't give people much time to think, that's a safe bet. And if you say, think of something like a square, it eliminates the square because you've just said it. Most people statistically will name a carrot, and if they don't, they'll say broccoli.
Really?
So that's a little test you can do with friends and family, but the key is to make them think of it fast. You don't want to give them too much time to sit there and ponder.
Yeah.
So that's a fun little trick you can try at home. And in fact, you know what? Since you brought it up, if you want to learn some tricks, obviously it'll take a very long time to teach a lot of things. And
we don't have 30 years to learn.
Yeah, correct. You know, I can't give you 30 years of my time, but posted on my website some tricks you can learn how to do yourself. If you go to just my name, it's WayneHoffman.com, and click the word learn, there are some links there to some tricks that you can learn how to do, and some really cool ones, like really good ones that'll blow people's minds.
So here's the good thing. You out there can go to the website. You can learn about the tricks that Wayne was just talking about. No matter where they are, you can kind of bring the fun to them. How do they do that?
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of people say, well, how do you do this for a living? Like, what do you even do? Do you just walk down the street and, you know, read people's minds? It's not like that. I mean, most of my work stems from performing at corporate events and performing in theaters. And now I just booked my first arena, which is, again, mind-boggling.
Wow.
But most of what I do is the corporate events, you know, like national sales meetings where people are all getting together, and again, the virtual events as well. So yeah, I always tell people, you know, the website is the hub if you want to reach out and get more information. And I have 7 different types of shows that I do. You know, there's roving entertainment, a small, what we call it, a cabaret experience, the full stage show. Then I do a motivational keynote. Using my skills as a mentalist, I teach people mind hacks on how to reach their goals faster. Then we have the virtual show, and then we do customized theme shows as well. So, you know, it's all over the place. But yeah, if you just go to WayneHoffman.com, you'll get all the info there.
So cool having you. And I just love that, as you said, you had to adapt with COVID. It's a new world. We're getting back in the face-to-face kind of world, but still pretty cool that you can offer a lot of really neat things, the technology that we have, and just bringing a lot of joy and happiness to people. And that's just awesome. Thanks for wowing me again and entertaining us. And hopefully maybe we can go on and I'll learn a few tricks that I can show the fam.
Well, thanks for having me, and you can be my assistant anytime.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. I love it. Wayne Hoffman, WayneHoffman.com. Thanks so much, Wayne. Have a great rest of your summer, and look forward to learning some of those tricks and maybe seeing you at an arena near me as well.
Thanks.
Bye.
Take care.